Gang, what's up? Welcome back here to another edition of Intuitive Angling, and thanks for checking out today's video. Much appreciated. Today we're going to give you guys some tips and advice on fishing riprap in the spring, how bass use riprap. Going to give you guys a little advice on some techniques and some lures, and specifically the type of riprap. So getting ready to walk out on a riprap dike here, so let's take a look at it real quick. Guys, here's typical riprap bank. You know, riprap, like I said, it's pretty much all just uniform rock is what it is if you're not familiar with riprap. And the differences in riprap has to do primarily with how deep the water is off the riprap, how quickly it drops off, and how much water depth is out, you know, maybe 5 or 6 feet away from it, in correlation with the water clarity. So these two factors determine a lot as far as technique goes in the springtime of the year. Also, one of the things to remember about riprap, guys, is they can be anywhere around riprap. They can be on straight stretches just like this, and the high percentage areas obviously are going to be any type of point that you have like this. But the problem you have with points is they get a lot of fishing pressure. Now these are high percentage areas, but you're better off if you can figure out how to catch them along the straight section here. So anyway, a couple different techniques here. When you're talking about the springtime of the year, riprap is really critical as far as during low light conditions. So what I like to do right off the bat, say right off the bat in the morning, is I'll get my boat out here and I'll parallel it. I'll try to fish anywhere between the bank out maybe 5 feet with like a popper, like just the old style chugger, like a popper or like a Megabass Pop Max. Fished along these rocks under low light conditions is a great way to catch them in a lot of different water clarities. Most riprap you're going to have anywhere between a foot to 3 or 4 feet visibility on it, but that is my primary go-to in the springtime of the year, is that popper. Now once the sun comes up a little bit and it gets bright in the springtime of year, guys, another real good technique is a jerk bait. You can take a jerk bait and parallel the entire section of riprap, move out a little bit deeper, try to hit that 5 to 10 foot zone. Sometimes those fish will pull out, especially if you have wind. Crankbaits also can be productive, but the crankbait and jerkbait is going to be a lot better in the wind. Now, if you don't have wind, if you got a calm day and, you know, like bright sunny, one of my favorite ways to catch them in the spring is to simply go around the riprap here with a shaky head. Put like a 6-inch zoom trick worm on, just fan cast it anywhere between like 5 to 10 feet off the bank on a light head, like a 1/16 of an ounce head, and it's going to be a really good way to get it. The key thing to remember, guys, about riprap is a lot of it is about timing, because one of the realities of fishing riprap is that it gets a lot of pressure because it's an obvious structure. A lot of people know it holds bass, and it does hold bass. It holds bass all year long. So remember that timing is critical, and those windows, even though like what I was talking about where the popper can be good under low light conditions, sometimes the fish feed during different times of the day, and they can feed according to the slightest little weather changes. Say for example, if you don't have much wind and a little bit of wind comes up, they may not be biting under no wind, and then you may catch them when it's windy. Or sometimes you can't catch them very good when it's windy, and when it calms down you can back off and finesse them like with the shaky head or the wacky rig and catch them. And again, a lot of that is a combination of the water clarity, the sunlight conditions, the light intensity that you have, and the fishing pressure. Riprap, it can handle a decent amount of fishing pressure, but you don't really want to try to ever get like right behind somebody and try to just fish right in behind somebody. That doesn't produce very well. But another thing about riprap, guys, is to remember is a lot of people that fish riprap with moving baits. Most people I see fishing riprap, they throw a crankbait a lot on riprap. And I guess because there's not much obvious individual isolated structure to hold fish, they think they got to cover water with it. But guys, slowing down, like I said, with the shaky head, or even maybe like a finesse jig, some type of a Texas rig, and just picking apart each one of those rocks, working slow as a snail. I've done pretty good like pitching a tube, like on an 1/8 ounce sinker up on riprap too, can be pretty good. So a lot of times it'll be, you know, to your benefit to slow down with a slow bait. Another thing that works good on riprap sometimes is swim bait. You know, you can take like anywhere between a 3 to 5 inch swim bait, parallel the riprap with it. It's a good way to catch them. I've caught them on a walking topwater before around it. Again, it's just up to your imagination based upon the conditions you have. But don't ever pass it up, man. Riprap is a magnet for bass. It's one of the top bass structures. Tournaments get one off of it. I personally, if I usually what happens if I'm fishing riprap, I'm sort of struggling because I don't like to go fish riprap as my primary way to catch fish, simply because it does get a lot of fishing pressure. But some guys are really good at it and they target it all the time, and they wind up doing good just by figuring out what the fish want. So anyway, I hope that helps you guys catch a few, and we'll talk later. See you.